on the next Roseanne show.
Today we have three of this country's greatest athletes ever. Olympic gold medal gymnast Mary Lou Retton, long-distance swimmer Diana Nyad, and track and field superstar Jackie Joyner-Kersee.
Then, author-comedian Dick Gregory shares his tips for staying fit.
Someone asked me the other day, you've been fasting for 30-some years. What does your doctor think? My doctor's been dead 27 years.
You're in a great mood. That's cool. I appreciate that. That's good. I hope that helps me get in a mood. You know, I have to tell you what's going on in the paper, because, you know, I read the paper when I'm going to the bathroom in the morning. Women are finally fed up, speaking of bathrooms, with too few ladies' rooms at public events. Should just make all the bathrooms the ladies' room and have the guys go outside, because that's what they like to do anyway. Yeah. And there's finally a perfect man. I know all you ladies are so happy to hear about this. He's made out of latex, and you take him with you in your car to prevent carjackings. No, this is for real. His name's Safety Man. It was in the paper. He sits there next to you, and so nobody wants to steal your car. And it's working. And they're also using cutouts of policemen to deter other crimes. Like they're putting them on streets and nobody speeds, and they put them on sidewalks and nobody gets mugged. Just cutouts. I think this is proof of the tremendous drug problem we have in this country. And there's this astral projection guy now. This was pretty interesting. He says that couples can train themselves to leave their bodies to visit romantic getaways such as Paris, Rio, or the moon. And ladies, if you are astral projecting by yourself, don't forget to take along Safety Man. Thank you. You guys asked me questions before the show, and I picked some. I'm going to answer them. Pretty good ones here that I like. From Stella Alfaro from San Francisco. Stella. Stella, hello. There's Stella. Stella asked me, how do I get in show business? I would like to be a model. Do you know how to make yourself vomit? You look like you do, so you could. You could make it. No, you're about that thin. It was a skinny joke. I'm sorry, but you're very thin. You could be a model. You're a gorgeous, gorgeous girl. Good luck. Okay. I have no idea how you become a model. You're asking the wrong girl, but I wish you luck, though. Okay, all right. Hi, it's me again. This woman's stalking me. Her name is Jill Shorter from Inglewood, California. Where are you? Now you're up there, Jill. How are you doing, Jill? I like Jill's questions. She says today, what makes younger men more appealing to you? Because I said my husband was 14 years younger than me. So Jill says, what makes younger men more appealing to you? Is it the sex, or do they listen to what you tell them to do and obey you more? And I always thought those were the same thing. But thank you for your question, Jill. Now sit down. Okay. Then we have Mike Bond from Solana Beach. I have no idea. Where's that? Is that California? Solana Beach, is that California?
Yeah, San Diego.
Oh, San Diego. All right, Mike. What was the most pointless thing you learned in high school? How old are you?
17.
Oh, so are you in high school?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, so what was the most pointless thing I learned in high school? How to read question cards. And Bianca Mims, what a cool name. Hi, Bianca. That's a cool name, Bianca Mims from San Diego.
Hey!
Do you like San Diego?
I'm from San Diego.
Oh, you are too? Y'all come on a bus or something? A lot of San Diego people. I am a senior in college, majoring in broadcasting. I am a huge fan of yours. Would it be possible to intern for you? You know, we were going to hire somebody and pay them for that position, but if you want to do it for free, you can. It's a long drive every day from down to San Diego. Rusty McLaughlin from Redondo Beach. Rusty, I bet. Hi, Rusty. Oh, it's a lady. It's a woman. Hi. I thought Rusty was the guy's name.
No.
Rusty McLaughlin says to me, how many beautiful children do you have? I have 3 beautiful children and 2 ugly ones. Okay. Now we have a great show today. We have one of my very favorite segments that we're doing today, which is called Famous Firsts. We're featuring 3 amazing athletes, Mary Lou Retton, Jackie Joyner-Kersee, and Diana Nyad. And if that were not enough, then we have just an American legend, an icon, comedian, author, and political activist. Dick Gregory is here. And then the music of Grammy winner Kebmo. We'll be right back. Well, it's time for one of my favorite segments called Famous Firsts. This is where we're going to bring people together who've been first to do something amazing. And today we have 3 of this country's greatest athletes ever. Olympic gold medal gymnast Mary Lou Retton. Olympic winner and back-to-back. Hi. Wow, nice to meet you.
Thank you. You know, I was expecting the leotard.
The
In
leotard.
gymnastics, we wear leotard.
Oh.
They told me you were going to be in a leotard.
Oh, I would have been if we should have called each other. Sit down here. Okay, next. Yeah, with the thing that goes right up the crack. Olympic winner of back-to-back heptathlons, track and field superstar Jackie Joyner-Kersee.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Sit down
I know the heptathlon is a monster.
Heptathlon? Heptathlon. Yeah. Okay, thank you. All right, sit down there. Okay, and long distance swimmer Diana Nyad, who swam from the Bahamas to Florida further than any man or woman to this very day. Come on out, Diana. Hi, darling. How are you?
Nice to see you.
Good to see you again.
Good luck with the show.
Thank you. I'm so in awe of all you for so many reasons. I mean, that you are like amazing athletes and everything, and amazing women. And you know, I saw you on the Wheaties box, I have to say.
First woman
First woman that ever was on the Wheaties.
All right.
Amazing.
That actually impressed my 3 brothers more
Oh yeah.
than winning the gold medal at the Olympics.
Well, it is. It's like such a whatever it is. It's just awesome. I can't think of the words. I'm tongue-tied. You know why I'm so tongue-tied? Part of why this, like, the question that I have to know is, I do not in any way get women athletes. I don't get, like, how you do that. I mean, it's so foreign to me being a Jew or whatever. I don't know what. I don't know how you get, I just don't know how you get there. So I want to hear about it. What made you want to do that? You're a Jew too, aren't you? Are you a Jew? Oh, I thought you were Jewish.
No.
What? Italian? Oh, you're Italian. Well, it's the same thing.
I don't know. I think that, and I can speak for myself, and I know you all have your own, but it was, I remember watching Nadia Comaneci when I was 7 years old in the '76 Montreal Games. I mean, she was my idol.
Oh, my God, she was
Glued
awesome.
to the set. And I told my mom, I said, Mommy, I said, I'm going to be in the Olympics one day, and I'm going to be just like her. And, of course, at 7, it's a dream. But it really was that dream at 7 that kept me in the gyms and kept me in those 8 hours a day working out, and that ultimate goal of mine to one day maybe represent the United States of America at the Olympic Games. It's a motivation that I believe you can't teach anybody. It's got to be within.
It was it just always in there, and then that one day it got, like, awakened?
No, I think that as it grew, you become obsessed with it because you are succeeding and your goals are becoming, you're getting closer to that goal, am I right?
I think
What about you?
It's a dream. I remember seeing the '76 Olympic Games, and I sat before the television, and I said I want to be on TV. And I thought maybe going to the Olympics I could get on TV. And, you know, because I started running at the age of 9, and I had no idea why I was running in this park on this dirt track all the time. But being able to see the Olympics on television, I said, oh, it all makes sense now that maybe one day, you know, I could go to the Olympics and I could be on television.
Did you have a hero, though? She had Nadia Comaneci.
Yes, my heroes, Wilma Rudolph was someone I read about, you know, seeing her, you know, reading about her, you know, being the first woman to win 3 Olympic gold medals in the 1960 Olympics, and having Babe Dickerson, Zaharias, that's a multi-eventer, was something that I wanted to do. And at the time, I liked basketball, so Dr. Julius Erving was someone that I really admired. So these were athletic heroes that, you know, I admired and, you know, and looked up to.
Was it always in there, do you think, and it just got awakened, or
You know what? It is. It's a flame. You know, it's a fire on the inside, and you have to find what that fire is, and you have to be devoted. And you don't know, though. It's all about not giving up. It's like I have this dream of wanting to do this and making sure I have the right support around me to allow that dream to become a reality. So awakening, yes, I awakened, and I guess I stayed awake for a long time.
What about you?
You know, you keep asking, is it something inside you? And I think it is. You'll see Mary Lou Retton and Jackie Joyner-Kersee when they're 80 years old, and they will have that same spark in their eyes. You talk to them about the foundations they've created and what they're doing for the world at large. It's the same thing they did on the balance beam or out on the track. And I didn't really have heroes as a kid. I've developed heroes as I've gotten older, but I even had 2 foreign parents who were very outside the world of women's sports. My mother would say, you know, it's nice you like to do this sport, but maybe you can pick tennis. You can wear a nice little short skirt, and maybe your hair won't be so green all the time. But there was something in me, when Mary Lou said a minute ago, when you start getting good at something, every child needs a pat on the back, needs to feel like I have the potential to be, not great, but just be my best at something. And when I felt the water and I could glide through the water and I could get there before everybody else, I wanted to do it more and more and more. But I live a whole different life outside of swimming now. I still want to get wherever I'm going first.
Right.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
Did you always... Should we take a commercial? We'll go to commercial. We have more to come with our women athletes. Yahoo! Well, here we are back. I was saying that I was just fascinated with the whole sort of Zen philosophy of sports. And so I wanted to ask you, what does it mean to win?
Well, I think we'd all would agree that we hate to lose. We just hate to lose. I think, like Diana was saying, I think being so competitive our lives, being Olympians, and God, you are nuts. Swimming from swimming that far, Diana. No, Diana and I are friends for a long time.
I told you that French mother. She said, I'd get you a plane ticket if you need a plane ticket.
But I think it takes a combination to win, Roseanne. I mean, you need, gosh, you have to sacrifice a lot. I left home when I was 14 to train with Bella Caroli, the king of gymnastics, this crazy Romanian who defected to this country. Dedication, but again, I think it goes back to that desire, that flame that Jackie was talking about. You have to have that because there is no one in the world that can force you to train the hours that we trained. I was working out 8 hours a day. You know, I didn't get to sleep in on Saturday mornings and eat my cereal watching cartoons. I was in the gym on that beam. Right. And I'm sure we all have our own different stories.
What do you feel like you gave up?
Well, the sacrifice of not being around your family and your friend as often as you wanted to be. A lot of the holidays you had to give up. At times when we were having Thanksgiving dinner, I was in the kitchen jumping rope because living in St. Louis and it was snow, I had to get my workout in. And my friends and my family were like, you're crazy. You know, why are you in here jumping? You're supposed to be in here celebrating with us. I said, I am, but I have to get this workout in. But when you think about the sacrifices, and as long as your family understand, it's worth it because it's going to come a time when you're going to be able to spend those hours with them and spend all the time with them. And I think when you talk about winning, you know, and what it really means, it means being able to share what you have accomplished with so many people that remember you when you were coming up and you were struggling. All the people you meet when you're winning now, it's good to celebrate that with them too, but it's never to forget where you come from, to be able to celebrate that, you know, with people.
I want to ask you that too, and then I want you to share your story about, I want to ask you about losing too. But tell us about winning first.
Well, winning and losing are the flip side of the same coin, you know? I think a 16-year-old girl told me something when I was 17 that I've never forgotten. I live every day by it. Better philosophy than Confucius. I was walking down the pool deck at the Olympic trials, and this was going to be it. I was going to swim a 100-meter race, last about a minute, and either wear the USA uniform and stand up on an Olympic medal stand or not and go on to the rest of my life. And 10 years of the hours Mary Lou was just talking about, 8 hours a day, that's no exaggeration. 8 hours a day. When you're 8 and 9 and 10 years old, and as Mary Lou said, no one makes you do that. That comes from guts, and it comes from something deep, deep inside you. And I walked down that pool deck, I was scared to death. You're so scared because you have given up childhood, adolescence, your family's given up a lot. And this one little moment is just like the weight of the world on your shoulders. And a friend came, a 16-year-old girl with such wisdom, and she shook me awake. And she said, Diana, I see what's going on with you. It's like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. You've got to stop thinking about this 10 years and what it all meant, and it's all going to be for nothing if you don't make it. Let's think of something small like the tennis players think of the fuzz on the tennis ball. Why don't we just pick a little fingernail? Not very poetic, but it was so true. She said, why don't you dive in and swim with your shoulders and your guts and your heart, and when you finish, don't look at the scoreboard. Don't figure out if you were in the top 3 or you're going to Mexico City. Close your eyes and say, I couldn't have done it a fingernail faster. And she said, I guarantee you can say that, everything will be all right. I didn't make the Olympic team, and I went on to break world records, and sometimes I've lost and sometimes I've won, but I guarantee you, the day it comes for me to leave this earth, I'm going to get a mirror, and I'm going to look in it, and I'm going to say, you know what? I did it all, so I couldn't do it a fingernail better. That's winning, and it's sometimes losing, too. But that's what sports is all about.
Very well put, Diane. Very well. That's good. Sports is such a foreign concept to me because, like I said, in my generation, you know, girls in sports are just, sports were something that we just watched, guys do. So it's just so awesome to see young women and women younger than me having taken it this far in such a fast time. I wanted you to speak to kids out there because I know you all do, you all have foundations, you all do things for kids. I'd like to hear about it.
You know, having the Jackie Joyner-Kersee Youth Foundation, being from East St. Louis, what I want to do is to build a community center in my hometown because I was very fortunate to be exposed to a community center that allowed me not only to get involved with athletics, but the academics, having a library to go for story time. I also learned about arts and craft, dancing, just a lot of different things, and also being able to work with the senior citizens to be a part of the Meals on Wheels program. So now I'm in a position where I can give something back and hopefully open up my youth center in East St. Louis, and we have our groundbreaking in September.
That's
and
great.
it'd be great, you know, for the kids in East St. Louis.
I'm working on a children's. I have a 3-year-old. I know your son.
I have a
Marcus,
3-year-old,
I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, and the children are my life. I mean, I'm mom and wife first and foremost, and we're working on a children's television show.
Oh, how great.
Yeah,
What's it going to be about?
It's a creative movement show to where these children will sit up on their sofa, get up and participate with me to promote good morals, good values. They're going to learn lessons along the way, but get up and learn about healthy living.
That's great.
But I can't wait. I'm really excited about it.
We have just a couple of seconds. Go.
You know, Roseanne, I was going to say that sports journalists always get a bad rap, that all they tell is the drug stories and the, you know, sexual assault stories and whatnot. I'm a correspondent over at Fox now, all right? But there are so many incredibly inspiring, moving stories in the world of sports, more than any other arena. And I got a chance to tell those stories, and that's for the kids. You know, it's an adult show, but the kids see it, and
Sports is
they
like
get
the
that spirit.
greatest metaphor for everybody, like breaking it down to the common denominator. Everybody, all kids, everybody can understand
It's
sport.
universal. That's right.
It is,
And
absolutely.
also, too, for kids to remember it, never to give up on themselves. When everybody else give up on you, if you always believe you can do it, you would do it. Because sometimes the doors are going to be shut, but if you can find a way to open those doors, they will open.
Thank you very much, all of you. We're coming up. We're going to commercial. We're coming back with Dick Gregory. Thank you so much. Nice to meet you. Thank you so much. My next guest has had the most amazing life. Well, I don't know what he did before he did stand-up, but he was a stand-up comic. He broke a lot of rules there. Then he became a civil rights activist, and then he started fasting, and he fasted for 2.5 years. So please welcome comedian, author, and activist, nutritionist, and all-around oddball, Dick Gregory.
Is this play water or real water?
It's real. Oh, you mean like, is it tap?
Can you drink it or is it?
Oh, no, it's for real to drink.
You drink yours?
I drink mine. Go ahead.
Well, you know, a gallon of water costs more than a gallon of gas.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
How weird is that? It's only in California,
No,
too.
it's all over. I'm thinking about start drinking gas next week.
You are so
You all should
awesome.
drink water, more water, water, water. That's the biggest problem we have in America. Y'all don't drink enough water.
That's what's wrong with us? Really? Okay,
And then
but
they always complain, you know.
what about lack of water?
If I drink water, I got to pee. Well, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? It's when you drink water and don't pee, you got a problem.
Now, I have to tell you how much I loved you when I was a kid. You know,
I like that.
and how I saw you.
My first white love. I love that.
Well, you didn't know me. But I watched you on, and I saw you on Jack Parr, and how influential you were to me as a young person
that's
who,
kind.
you know, wanted to be a comic. And you were one of the people who awakened that in me.
Well,
and I remember what you said on Jack Parr, too. It was the funniest thing ever. You were fat. You were really fat then.
Yeah, my top weight was, no, really, my top weight
really
was
fat.
365 pounds. I went the whole route. 4 packs of cigarettes every day, a fifth of scotch every day. And people said, you know, I can stop drinking, but how did you stop smoking cigarettes, you know? And it's a system. You have to lie to yourself sometimes. See, I can make everybody in America stop smoking cigarettes,
How?
but I have to be willing to lie.
How? Because
You just-
I have 2 daughters that are sneaking cigarettes. I want them to quit.
You have to get
They think I don't know, but tell me.
Yeah, you have to get you see, when you tell the big lies, you have to have a professor from a leading university, like Harvard.
Yeah.
And then you have to throw a black one in, like Morehouse, and then a foreign one, like University of Toronto. And then they talk through their throat. They say, we here at Harvard University, after 2 years of research, we found out beyond a shadow of a doubt that due to the acid rain mixing with the moon dust, that anybody that smokes after this coming Thanksgiving will turn jet black. You serious?
Well, let's talk about...
I know black folks will stop smoking.
I want to hear about you and your comic days and how you were really the first black comic that played to white audiences.
Well, basically, what happened, if you go back to the old days, I'm 65 years old, a black was not permitted to stand flat-footed and talk to white America. You could sing, you could buck dance, you could, and then you could stop in between that. Sammy was a brilliant comic, but he could never walk out as a comic.
Right.
The dancing, the singing, you could stop. And what happened, you had the East Coast, Nipsey Russell and all of them, they would have little private functions that they would be invited to, but just to work in a nightclub. And I started in a black nightclub in Chicago. It was a little place where you paid 35 cents for a bottle of beer, and it was called the Esquire Club. You had a shake dancer, and a guy played the guitar. And I made them listen to me, because if they didn't come to see me, they come to see the shake dancer and hear the guitar player. So I said, in order to get them, you have to tolerate me. If you don't tolerate me, I'm not going to bring them on. And then I sit there and developed and developed.
That's what I used to say when I opened for Julio Iglesias, the very same thing.
I love it.
I say, if I don't get a good response, I'll be up here an hour.
And they,
But I want to hear, now, Hugh Hefner
then
gave
Hugh
you a
Hefner
chance.
came one day. They brought, this black nightclub brought in Sammy Davis, Count Basie, Joe Williams, and Sarah Vaughan. So all the white folks from downtown came to the club. Hugh Hefner was sitting there, and Nipsey Russell was the comic, and I was the house comic. And a guy told me something, because I was upset that all these big white folks is coming out, and they won't get to see me because they're bringing in a comic from New York. And an old black dude told me something. He said, you know, once you walk out there in front of that mic, that's yours. If you take 2 seconds or 2 hours, you just put it in that, and I did it. And Hugh Hefner heard me, and one day Irwin Corey, who refused to work 7 days at the Playboy, decided that he was going to work 6 days, and Hefner brought me in. And it was kind of interesting, the power of God.
What did that feel like?
Well, what happened...
Knowing that you were really the first. What
Well,
did it feel like?
I didn't know it. I didn't know it at the time. You know, what happened, when Hugh Hefner brought me in, he found out that room had been sold out to a Southern frozen food delegation on a convention. And so they sent word that I didn't have to go up. And what had happened was, I had 1 quarter, and I have never spent that much time downtown. I got off at the bus at the wrong stop, and it was a blizzard. And I go on at 8 o'clock, and I'm running and I'm praying, you know, please don't let me be late, please. And when I walked in, Hugh Downs was standing at the steps, and he said, you don't have to go on tonight. And I was so busy wanting to get there, I didn't hear him. I pushed him out the way, went up on the stage at 8 o'clock, and at midnight, I was still on the stage. They woke Hefner up, he came by and he heard me, and that's how I got hired. That's how it happened.
We're going to take a commercial. More with Mr. Dick Gregory after this commercial. That was a pretty amazing picture of you at a rally with Dr. Martin Luther
Dr.
King.
King. That was probably, the civil rights movement's probably changed my life. You know, you listen to athletes talk about how much time they put in to perfecting their, and I did. I mean, I resented the fact I was poor. I resented where I lived. I resented my family. I just, you know, and I became a world-class athlete, and I felt this feeling. And then I got into the top of the entertainment, you know, picture on the cover of Time magazine.
You did.
And then when I got into the civil rights movement, that feeling was the feeling I've been looking for all my life. It was honest. Martin Luther King never said one thing to the camera, and then when the camera was off, said, them honkies this. He was always about love, and it was always about peace. And when we would just spend quiet time just at the hotel in between marches, he was always even, and never said nothing. Now, I was different. I'd say things about white folks off the camera that
I remember reading in your book, you said, because you were a great, you know, you were an amazingly famous, influential comic. You were, you know, and then I remember you said in your book, suddenly things just weren't funny anymore.
Yeah.
So you went into a whole political area.
But you know, let me tell you what I meant by that. Never before in the history of this planet have anyone been liberated through comedy.
That's
You know,
right.
women will be liberated, we'll find a cure for cancer, and it won't be through comedy. The people in the trenches have fantastic humor, but that don't liberate. So when I would march down the street in the South, I didn't go there to be funny. And if people would have laughed, I'd have been defeated. When I walked up on that stage, I never walked up on that stage as a comic to win anybody over. When I was on that stage, I was there for laughs. When I was down, one of the problems I had a problem with is coming to your nightclub. Like when you're really hot, you book 6 months to a year in advance.
Right.
I felt wrong by, if there was a major battle going on, I wouldn't come in your nightclub. And so I would skip it. And I just felt like I couldn't hang nightclub owners up like that. So I got out of show business in 1973 for 2 reasons. One, I didn't want to be part of exposing people to alcohol. Now, if you want to drink, you want to smoke, that's your. I didn't want to take a talent that God had gave me. I don't care about people drinking. I'll buy you some whiskey. But I didn't want you to have to come in and drink to hear Dick Gregory. And
Is that when you started to like really go deep into nutrition and?
into nutrition was accidental. The civil rights movement said that nonviolence means that nothing you could do to make me kill you. And then I said, well, I want to extend mine to animals. And so I decided anything had to be killed, I wouldn't eat. Now remember now, nothing about nutrition. I was drinking a fifth of scotch a day, and I mean, I'm surprised the United States.
I think a lot of people right now, a lot of young people are going through that very same thing. A lot of them are, you know, starting with vegetarianism.
Yep.
But I mean, you have taken it to some
Well, I went
place.
over to the extreme, but
You just,
I didn't start.
all you eat is fruit, right?
No, but I started off saying I'm not going to eat no animal product. I still smoking 4 packs of cigarettes a day, drinking a fifth. I drink so much whiskey, I'm surprised the government didn't declare me a beverage. And then one day, now hear this real good, about 18 months into not eating no animal product, my sinus trouble disappeared. 6 months after that, my ulcers disappeared, and that's the first time I realized there was something about food they hadn't told. See, I always thought good nutrition, when whatever you like didn't run out till you got enough, and bad nutrition is when it did. And then I met
That's
this.
what I thought too.
Yep, you know. And then I met this black woman in Chicago, Dr. Fulton, who knew more about fasting than anybody on the planet. And
So
she,
you said, you know, I read
Yep.
that you said it's like taking you to a whole new spiritual place to
it
just.
raises the level, because fasting, you don't lose weight, you lose impurities. And everybody that hear us talking now, tonight when they go to sleep, will go on a fast. Once you go to sleep, the body goes on a fast. When you wake up, meet your first meal, we call it breakfast. It's breaking the fast. So
But
if
you can't tell people that they should just start fasting.
Well, you know what? When you tell people that, you say, why don't you go home and fast? And they'll go home and say, I heard Dick Gregory, I want to fast. They say, well, did you check with a doctor? You know, you don't check with a doctor when you do coke. You don't check with a doctor when you do alcohol. You know. And all the things that I ever did to corrupt my body, I never checked with nobody. Someone asked me the other day, or some news station said, you know, you've been fasting for 30-some years. What does your doctor think? My doctor's been dead 27 years.
We're out of time. I didn't get my psychic reading.
Oh.
You have to come back
I
and give
love
me a
it. I
psychic
love it.
reading.
Thank
I
you.
want to talk to you for hours and hours and hours. Please
Be my
come
pleasure.
back
I
and
sure
talk
will.
some more.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Up next, Petmo from LA. Well, nice to meet you again. You all sound great. Oh, you have a woman in here.
Yes.
Cool. That's not your wife, is it?
No.
Because I heard that you work with your wife.
A little writing, yes.
A little writing with your wife. Like maybe that song you sang, that song you just sang. Would you like to tell us about the inspiration for that?
That song?
Uh-huh.
Well, it's just a song about a man in a precarious situation, maybe having like a, inappropriate
Yeah.
type.
Now, did your wife write that song for you, or did you?
No, she didn't have anything to do with that. That was actually written with a guy named Anders Osborne. We wrote that together.
I like that song. It's good. It's a good guy song.
It's a guy song.
Yeah.
Wrote a lot of girl songs, so I think it's time to write a guy song.
Yeah, especially a guy song that says, "I'm sorry and I was wrong." Is that a first or what? That's a first. So, well, okay. Thanks for being the first guy I've ever heard to say that. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.